All right. So you know how sometimes you put everything you've got into a relationship
Mm-hmm.
and it's still like something's missing.
Yeah,
It's like, are my efforts actually like being appreciated?
totally.
Are they actually landing? Well, today we're going to deep dive into that,
Okay.
but we're going to look at it through the lens of respect and how men experience respect.
Interesting.
So we're going to be checking out this sermon by Dr. Myles Munroe
Okay.
called uh, A Man Needs Respect.
Got it.
So let's see what we can find out.
Yeah, I think one of the most striking things about Dr. Monroe's whole take
Okay.
is just how strongly he emphasizes respect as like this fundamental need for men.
Yeah.
He actually says that for a lot of men, feeling respected is even more important than feeling loved.
Whoa. That's a bold statement.
Right.
Yeah.
A big one. So he's basically saying that feeling respected is at the core of a man's emotional well-being.
Yeah.
He even goes so far as to say that men see respect as,
Mm.
like, basically it's how they experience love. Oh, interesting.
So to give this idea like some background,
Okay.
he brings in religious texts like Ephesians 5,
Right.
which talks about, a wife's duty to respect her husband.
Yeah, it's definitely a more traditional view,
For sure.
but it does reflect these, cultural expectations that have been around for a long time.
Totally.
Yeah.
But even if we like set aside the religious aspect of it,
Okay.
it's still fascinating that men might be extra sensitive to respect.
Right.
So why do you think that might be?
Well, we have all these societal expectations about masculinity and how men are supposed to be like providers and protectors, leaders.
Right.
So a man's sense of self-worth can be really tied up in whether they can fulfill those roles.
Yeah.
And when they don't feel respected, it kind of feels like someone saying they're not good at those things.
Oh, so it's like a direct hit to their identity.
Yeah, exactly.
Their sense of self is kind of on the line.
Right, exactly.
So what does Dr. Munroe suggest wives can do to show this kind of deep respect?
Well, he gives a few specific examples, like
Okay.
speaking highly of your husband,
Okay.
praising his achievements, and just generally, holding him in high regard.
Right.
It's about showing him that you value him and that the things he does are important.
Which can be super affirming.
Totally, yeah.
But he also talks about what happens when respect is missing.
Yeah.
And he actually calls it dangerous,
Mm.
which sounds intense.
Yeah.
But maybe that just shows how deeply disrespect can hurt.
Absolutely. A lack of respect can really wear down a man's confidence
Right.
and build resentment in a relationship. Dr. Monroe even tells this funny story
Okay.
about how some wives might show more respect to their pastor
Okay.
than to their own husbands.
Wow, that's quite the comparison.
He's a little bit ouch, right?
Yeah, I bet.
But it gets to his point, and that actually leads into another point he makes about the difference between helping and hurting.
Interesting.
He gives this example where a wife criticizes her husband's knowledge of the Bible, thinking she's, trying to help him learn,
Yeah.
but the husband just feels disrespected.
Right.
And it actually makes him less confident.
So even if you have good intentions, it's got to land the right way.
Exactly. It's about how it's perceived.
Yeah.
He then contrasts that with, imagine a wife supporting her husband's spiritual growth,
Okay.
but in a respectful way, like helping him find a passage
Cool.
or buying him like a study Bible.
Right. Showing support without putting him down.
Exactly.
So Dr. Munroe is definitely making us think.
Right.
But is it kind of outdated to only talk about the wife's role in showing respect?
That's a great point.
Don't you think respect should go both ways?
100%. Yeah.
In any relationship.
Absolutely. And I think even though he focuses on wives in the sermon, his ideas are actually relevant to anyone.
Yeah.
Everyone deserves respect,
So what's the takeaway for our listener?
Well, I think Dr. Monroe's sermon gives us a lot to chew on.
Yeah.
It makes us think about how our actions might affect other people, even if we mean well.
Yeah.
And it reminds us how important communication is. You
Yeah.
can't just assume your partner knows how you feel.
Yeah, you got to talk about it.
Exactly. You have to talk about what respect means to each of you.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, respect isn't always these big gestures.
Okay.
It's also the little things like listening to your partner,
Right.
acknowledging their effort,
Mhm.
saying thank you. Yeah, showing appreciation.
And
It all matters.
So think about Dr. Munroe's message
Okay.
and ask yourself, how can you make your relationships more respectful? How can you make sure your partner feels seen and heard and valued?
Great question.
Something to think about.
Absolutely.
And that's our deep dive.
Cool.
Catch you next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.